Tier lists aren't made for you. Built by top players, aimed at new players, and used by everyone in between to decide what's best without knowing what your account actually needs. Hi, my name is Basic, and today we're looking at tier lists, why they exist, and how we use them. Tier lists are a lot of fun. We all like to see who's up and who's down. Is our favorite character winning, or are we playing hard mode? These are the questions we try to answer when we see a tier list on Pridewin, or from our favorite content creator. But tier lists can mean different things. Some tier lists evaluate characters exclusively, by how they perform in the hands of the best players. Others evaluate how much value they add to a general account. And others evaluate how pretty, or more accurately, how desirable a character is. I'm going to ignore the last one for obvious reasons. The best tier lists try to marry both aspects. They assume a representative account and a representative player. No extreme setups, no exceptional execution. Why is it like this, you might wonder? For a new player, especially if the game isn't new, every character is a great pull, because every character makes it easier to access and complete endgame content. But once we have a developed account, this question becomes very complex. There are some common rules we see all the time. Usually, tier lists will aim to devalue characters with heavy requirements. That way, they dissuade players from picking those characters, even if the player has the correct tools to make them work. Think Trigger without their W engine. Another constraint that has to be included is player skill. If a character is extremely hard to play while doing the same damage as easier alternatives, then it loses value. And if a character can be played very easily while delivering great performance, then they get elevated. It's important to understand that all of these considerations are meant to bridge the gap between the top level players who make the list and its intended audience. If you're a top player, this is the part where the tier list starts to feel incorrect. Top players sometimes complain about such decisions. For example, recently Pridewin demoted Miyabi to tier 0.5. While Miyabi, in the hands of a top player with her W engine, partnered with Yuzu and Sokaku, is the infamous Yuzu Ice build, it's still one of the strongest teams in the game. The reality is that most players will never be able to take her to those heights. So while for a top player, the tier list is now incorrect, for everyone else, that decision is clear. Now, this doesn't mean everything is wrong. Tier lists are less about finding the best option and more about avoiding the wrong ones. And tier lists can have systems to mitigate this situation too. The expert tag and the partner tag are intended to bridge that gap. The expert tag allows a character to be placed where it makes sense for a high-level player while informing everybody else that this character requires practice and mastery to achieve such lofty heights. Meanwhile, the partner tag is slightly more insidious. A character can jump from a lower tier to their partner tier, Sokaku and Ponyinhu being the main examples. Without their specific teams, they drop several tiers. All of this creates a lot of tension. The people making the tier list are trying to maximize audience coverage, while the people making videos analyzing those tier lists who are maximizing their own preferences. This can be poll value, longevity, or performance at maximum value, just to name a few. This guarantees there will always be dissent, but it doesn't mean they're wrong. It just means the tier list in question was not made for them. This brings me to an important question. Who is Pridewin's tier list made for? That specific tier list is made for the masses. The goal is to reach the largest number of players who needs it. More specifically, it targets new and mid-level players. Advanced players are already good enough to know which characters are strong. For them, a tier list becomes something fun to check out. But for a new player, it can be the difference between clearing the endgame in 1 month or 3. Tier lists like Pridewin's don't rank characters by potential. They rank them by reliability across unknown conditions. And that's tier lists in a nutshell. If you liked the video, give it a like and consider subscribing. I'll be doing more videos like this. Do you use tier lists? And if so, what for? Tell me down below.